I say this because I believe it's the truth on Ableton, on FL, on any of these um, DAWs or um, pretty much everything. Even like when you get into hardware now, if it's a full workstation of some sort, you need to create either a template or at least some type of template with a master channel set up to speed up your workflow. A lot of people, there are some people that are really skilled at mastering and mixing and whatever. I would not say that I'm that person, but I do understand that if I can get the sound I want by using the right combination of pieces on the master chain, you can get your music making going fast and really easy. I do think a drum bus is nice to have. I don't care where you're at. Some type of transient shaper. This is my drum enhancer, which is actually Roar, by the way. Um, and this came from Seed to Stage, which I just did a video on. And then I use Valhalla preset, which is pretty much just a drum air preset, and I just set it at 10% just to give the drums some type of. But if you don't have Valhalla, they make a good one in. I'm just gonna show you the Ableton one. Obviously, I don't know every one, but if you go to the reverbs, you can get some type of ambience in there, or you can find, where does it say, drum room, something like that, that you can throw in and actually give you some type of air. You can find one of the presets that works for you. Everybody's style of music is going to be a little different, but this is just to give a little air to the drums, to give it some space. It adds a little maybe I would say color to it or something. Maybe that's for lack of better words. All right, so that's the drum bus. As long as you have at least a drum bus and a main channel that runs everything out. Now I use a couple things. So this is the LTL Silver Bullet. This is a piece of hardware that they've converted. It looks like Plugin Alliance to a plugin, and I like the plugin a lot. In fact, there are a ton of presets in here. If you go down here, there's the factory presets that you can, even mastering presets. And what I did was I came up with, oops, I didn't mean to click off. I came up with my own preset by using one of their presets first, and then I went in and just adjusted little parts, bits and pieces of parts that I wanted a little different. And once I found something that I like, I just kept it and saved it as a preset, save as, and there you go, BJSB Mastering 1. If I ever want another preset a little different, I would probably make the adjustments, save as, and make it Mastering 2. And maybe I would give an indication of why I did that. But this is basically just a coloration on the front, right? It's like a 12-bit, so it makes the sound a little distorted. Um, but that's all I'm using it for. You can take Saturator, you can take Roar, any of that, put it up front, and it can become your coloration. You're just coloring the sound a little bit. Or you can go without one if you just want it to be. But I think a little saturation helps with the fact that you're running this in a computer. But it also depends on the type of song you're making and that type of thing. So you need to adjust accordingly. This is Wolf compressor, or GHZ Goodhertz Wolf compressor mastering edition. Now, most of the stuff I need is in here. I usually just use the Snappy Wolf Peck Master, or I'll go with just a starter and then adjust it. Adjust the mastering here. I don't go into detail into looking in here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Into all this extra stuff. You can go in here and adjust if you really want to get intricate. I'm a preset guy. Find what I like that works and just keep it. And then I just make music. In fact, all my albums, the last 4 or 5 albums I dropped, have had the same setup on it. I have not changed a single thing. So I haven't had any complaints. It works pretty good. So I'm gonna keep at it, and I'm just showing you, just because it works for me. Something like this could work for you. You have to figure out your setup. Now on desktop as well as iPad and iPhone, anytime I mix a song, even if I'm doing it in Koala and then sending it through AUM, it will have this Haze 2 natural width on it. I use the same plugin. I don't change. It's a preset in here. You just grab it, natural width, cool, done. It's just a set it on the mastering chain. So I put it after I do coloration, a little the compression, and then that widener to widen that sound out. And then, oh, and by the way, if you don't have this widener, there's other stereo wideners. You can get one from here. Just search up stereo widener, or you can use. There's one called Master. Uh, Master. What is it called? Master Stereo. Master. Might be good to spell it right. STER. There you go. Stereo Enhance. So you can drop that one on there. But I highly suggest go to Seed to Stage. He put a lot of effort into his, and grab the one that I told you about, which is the Earth Cry. The Earth Cry has a Haas stereo widener. That thing that he made actually is really nice, and it houses everything you need to get the sound just right. Okay, moving on. This is a plugin that I can't stumble across when I was looking into the God Particle thing. Perhaps they advertised it so much that I got hooked on wanting to try it. So I tried the version for the demo out, and I thought it was pretty good. It just wasn't good enough for me to buy it. It was like 150 bucks or something like that. I think I saw it on sale one time for 100, and I was like, nah, I know it's probably one of them tools I should just want and don't have to do much to, but I'll just wait. So then later on, I stumble on Gumroad and found God Popsicle, where this is version 2, where it's pretty much the same thing. So I just turned it on or dropped it in here, turned the amount to 200, even though I could have probably left that at 100, set the limiter to where I want it to 6 dB, and I just keep it on the chain. I don't even touch it. It just sits here like this. So again, set it and leave it, set it and leave it, set it and leave it. And then this end portion of the chain is actually a recorder that came with XLN's Life, where you can record and then put that back into the Life and mix it. But what I found it useful for me uh, was more so just letting something come through the mix. So let's just put some drums or something on, because that'll be the easier way to show you. Let's go to Explore. See if we can get some drums going. So you can see right here, I can see a visual, which I think Ableton should have. They don't, but I wish they would add it. All right, that's enough of that. Though those drums do sound pretty good. Let's see here. So getting the visual at the end for me is a gauge. I don't like my stuff peaking all the way to the top, but you're going to have some spikes in it. You can compress that by putting obviously the compressor or whatever, or the compressor at the end. I don't. I like my stuff kind of not squashed to the maximum. Everybody's different, but then again, I'm making different types of music. I'm not just making hip hop. I'm not just making R&B. I'm primarily making ambient cinematic and mixing in sometimes jazz and hip hop. So I don't want everything completely squashed. Maybe if I was doing just straight hip hop, I probably would. I might feel a little bit different. But anyway, how you order these does make a difference, but you need to do it based on your sound, not just mine. But I do feel like if you kind of keep some type of color at the beginning, a compressor limiter if you want, and then the stereo widener at the end, you actually come out pretty good. Just doing that alone, I think you'll be solid. Popsicle could be, I think it was like 20 bucks or less. Could be your limiter if that's what you want it to be, because it can definitely do that. You might still choose a compressor, even though it has like this EQ. You might choose to still put some type of compression at the front of it, um, or not. So, like for instance, if I go back in and play, let's play some different drums. Did I click this? 1 second here. If you turn off the glue, so see how it brings up stuff just that. Now watch if I do like this one. See how it brings the sounds up? So I might choose to put that around 70-ish. Okay, it's enough. All right. So you can see, if you look at it, you can see kind of what it's doing, right? So a compressor and limiter. Another good one that I own and don't use anymore, I used to use it all the time, is Tone Booster. By the way, their demo version has a lifetime, so I don't think it doesn't have a lifetime. The word I mean, it doesn't expire. So you can just use that one with the demo. So let's go plugins. I might have uninstalled it because I stopped using it. But on iOS, I use it all the time. But it's Barricade. Let me see if I have. There it is, TV Barricade. I'll pull it down here and let you see. So if you use TV Barricade, you see it comes with a compressor and a limiter in it. And all you have to do with this one is set it to loud master and then adjust this right here if you want. So I usually leave it at 6 dB and then I move it down sometimes to 4 if I need it, depending on the song. This one plugin here could actually replace, in my opinion, could replace this plugin, probably God Particle 2, could replace both of these. If you just went this way, and I think it's only like 35, 40 bucks or something like that to buy it, which I think you should support the dev, which I did. I bought it. Um, but yeah, just that loud master thing right there, throw it in, done. And that'll give you your limiter. It'll give you everything you need. If you need to adjust and get real intricate, you can get in here and do it. Personally, I don't feel the need to. I just use the preset because I'm not super into mastering and things like some people are. So that's my signal chain. There's some ideas of what you can do. If you don't have Barricade, but you have Ableton, you're like, I don't really have the money to spend on some of these other plugins. There are plenty of good, if you go to the audio effects, plenty of good things you can use in here, like Saturator can be here, or Roar could be here. You could use your for your limiter, and you have not the glue compressor. Where is it called? Not compressor. I'm trying to remember what the other one is called. I think it's maybe it is glue compressor, and I'm getting it confused. Yeah, glue compressor. Make it louder. So this plugin alone could act kind of like what Barricade was doing. It could do it for you. And then just put a limiter in front of it, because I don't know if there's a, yeah, there, put a limiter in front of it, and that's all built into here in the Ableton. A lot of your, I know the one in FL Studio, I believe, is pretty good too, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have to get one of these presets, but you can use the limiters presets if you want, or you can put your limiter here and then just adjust accordingly. I like to use presets because I don't always know what I'm doing. I'm not a mastering person. So I will encourage people to use presets when you can. By the way, if you just click audio effects, almost all of this stuff is in audio effects. So grab the one from Glue Compressor. Here's the limiter. And then what you could do with the limiter is just do Either the maximizer or true peak limiter, I think would work just fine. Either one of those should be fine on the end if you want a preset. Let's see, true peak limiter. Yeah, so just drop it in and let it sit as a preset. That's what I would do. And then you could do, let's see what maximizer do. Oh, it just turns the output up a little bit, adjust the release. So you're gonna have to play with those according to your music because everybody's music is different, or what styles they do may require something a little different. But the general basis is have coloration, master. I have coloration, compression, limiter, something like that, and a stereo widener of some sort. I like my stereo widener to go after the compression. Generally, I would put it after I'd put the limiter there too, but I don't know. I just did it different. This is what I got, and it works for me. So that's all I can say on that one. So, anyway, I'm not a guru at mixing and mastering. I like to do stuff really simple. Give me a plugin that just works, and that's how I roll. So, I'm just throwing out some suggestions, but I definitely think you need a template. 100% a template. And when I say a template, I don't mean like I do have my Trillion set up already because I know I'm going to use it. I have my drums set up because I know I'm going to use some type of drums. Generally, if not, they're just there, right? It's not a big deal. They're on 2 tracks. That's all they take up. I keep Scalar on a track. I keep Harmony Bloom. I recently added Spacewalk for the ambient stuff, which is really cool. And then I have my keys. On the keys, I keep the keyboard monitor just because if I don't have my keyboard in front of me, which in this case I do, I can click the piano note up here and still play notes on the keys. Now, personally, I think you should always have some type of keyboard. Using the track, I mean, using your actual QWERTY keyboard is okay, but it's not fun and I think it's harder to play stuff on it personally and get the timing right. So a small keyboard is really nice. I love the launch key stuff. That's my favorite. However, I do think you can use other stuff. Like the Arturia small key stuff is really good too. If I'm going to go small keys, I think Arturia makes the best when it comes to that. So that's it for this video. Whatever DAW, doesn't matter if it's on iOS or if you're on MacBook or PC, wherever you're at, or even in a piece of hardware, make yourself a mastering chain that works for you and make sure you have a template to speed up your workflow so that you don't have time to be bored. You're just making music. You're not spending time doing all this excess stuff. Unless you just really into doing that, then that's a whole nother story. That's a different type of person. All right. So I'm out. I'll see you on the next.